Aloha followers, today I'm in Hawaii. Huh? Giant wave warning? It's approaching the island soon. We have to get to safety. Okay, just 1 second. I literally have to finish making my TikTok. What? Stop filming and take this seriously. You heard him, guys. Let's go see if we can get a better view. Just get to higher ground. Ooh, sounds like a picnic to me. I hope someone brings snackies. How's it going, day ones? I'm Nick Tom. Tsunamis. One of the few reasons why living in Hawaii can be a bad thing. But what's worse than the occasional tsunami warning is the tourists that don't take it seriously. I know that this doesn't apply to the majority of tourists, at least that's what I want to believe, but for the ones that it does, why does it always end up on social media? I'm still trying to wrap my head around why tourists were cheering minutes before the tsunami was supposed to hit Oahu. Were they excited about the devastation that was predicted to take place? Were they pumping themselves up in case they had to swim for their lives? Are they trying to go out with one last hurrah, 300 style? At the very least, this behavior is cringe. But definitely what's worse than cheering for the tsunami to come when you're stuck in an evacuation zone is getting to a location where you're safe and turning back to watch. Crowds of tourists gathered in high elevation areas to watch the tsunami that was supposed to wreck the island that I live on. This mentality I don't understand whatsoever. You would never watch a car crash, would you? So why would you want to watch destruction on a much greater level? Again, this is my home. Ah, aren't we all so calm? Just another day on vacation in a foreign land where I assume no responsibility for damages done to the place that I'm visiting. I can always hop in a flight and go back home. I mean, it's not like any of these people, to me, look like they're deeply invested in what's about to happen. There aren't people looking worried or sad. Hey, let's at least pretend to be concerned about this natural disaster. This isn't a romantic Hawaii sunset we're witnessing here. The only way I'm able to show grace towards the tourists whose vacations were almost ruined by the tsunami is to assume that they simply gave into the group mentality of being ignorant. If everyone else is doing this, meaning tourists, it must be okay for me to do it too. Surely no one else is making it really obvious that we're accidentally being insensitive, right? Right?
Interrupting my career. Right, update. We're 5 minutes out. Update. The tsunami's supposed to the tsunami in Hawaii. Okay, update.
Don't do it, Nick. Hawaii needs tourism. It's an important part of our economy. Why? Why can't TikTokers refrain from sensationalizing things that don't affect them personally? Tracy Love was here when the tsunami warnings went off, and she posted not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 12 TikToks that pretty much all went viral. These were documenting her experience watching the tsunami. She just couldn't get enough, I guess. She got over 75 million views on TikToks talking about the tsunami that could have really hurt my community.
He got the snacks, the tsunami snacks. What we got in there?
Protein shakes, Cheetos.
Oh my goodness. 3 minutes, I'll be back to show y'all what it looks like in 3 minutes.
The audacity to be talking about how she's scared and doesn't know what's gonna happen next when clearly she doesn't care is crazy. Because she's having a picnic, eating snacks, and making friends? Anyone who doesn't only think about themselves would immediately think about the local people that are being affected in this situation. You know, those who can't peacefully lounge about while profiting off of watching this disaster. But maybe she never thought about that. This reaction to a comment that points out exactly what I just said is unbelievable. Not someone calling you out for being the poster child of toxic influencers that are out of touch, only for you to react like, no, I'm not dumb, I'm safe. It's about me, me, me. Now, I'm not calling for people to rush and give Tracy hate or even a taste of her own medicine. Like, how about I film you while you're about to suffer and make money going viral? I just hope people aren't falling for her fake TikTok persona. Apparently, she was supposed to be living in South Korea at this time. Personally, that is what I call lying.
It is currently 6 a.m. in Korea. Don't ask me while I'm still out, but I'm interrupting my Korean posting. I am in Hawaii and we're about to get hit by a hurricane. Or no, we're about to get hit by a tsunami.
And then after the tsunami scare, she goes right back to posting TikToks about being back in South Korea. And in case we all need a geography lesson, these two places are not close to each other. Same ocean, yes, but very, very big ocean. She couldn't have been in both places in such a short time period. Anyway, I don't think people realize how gnarly tsunamis can be. Imagine this TikToker did witness the tsunami obliterating the shore. She would have ended up seeing something like this. As the caption says, this was a tsunami that took place in Hawaii in 1946. Now, don't be fooled by the black and white aesthetic and the snazzy fashion everyone is rocking in this clip. What tourists probably don't understand about tsunamis is that it's not about the size of the wave that matters, but it's the sheer force that's driving it. Concrete buildings were not enough to stop it. And it's the aftermath that's just so sad. Like I've been trying to say, these are places where local people live, work, and play. All of that could have been flattened, like in this instance. Oh yeah, you thought Hawaii only had one bad tsunami in its history? Like, oh, it's just a myth. Nope. There were two big tsunamis that hit mostly the Big Island, and that's why they're not a joke. For people old enough to remember this, it is especially frightening. My grandpa is from Hilo, which is the town that was hit both times. I asked him about it, and this was his response. Well, okay, I didn't want to film him. He's very shy, and so this is a reenactment of our conversation. Grandpa, do you remember the tsunami from when you were little? Oh yes, there were two. One in 1946 and one in 1960. Oh wow, what were they like? Did you see them? Well, the first one wiped out my mom's real estate properties. It did? And other houses that weren't destroyed were lifted up off the ground. So it moved them? Right, as if someone had picked them up and set them down a few feet away. And what was the second one like? That one hit the same place as before in Hilo. So they made it into a park. Oh yeah, I think I know that park. Right. Do you want to hear a funny joke? Obviously, this wasn't word for word what I said to my grandpa. He likes to take breaks to tell jokes that he read online. But my mom says she remembers my grandpa describing the tsunami as sounding like a giant train, because it was just pushing through everything it had demolished. So yeah, but if you want to see a more genuine reaction to the tsunami, I think Shelby K. Blackburn made more honest TikToks documenting her experience.
Okay, sorry, I'm shaking like a leaf. Okay, I'm just gonna post as many updates as I can. The alarms have stopped. Okay, tsunami threat update from Waikiki Beach.
Look, I said more genuine, okay? I still feel a little bit icky about the fact that she posted even more TikToks and got more views. It's something like 13 TikToks that got over 90 million views. But I oddly don't feel like she sensationalized the tsunami. She was giving an honest reaction of a tourist who was stuck in an evacuation zone and who also had a family. You know, she wasn't like, oh my gosh, my life is in danger, and I have an innocent baby.
And the closest tsunami safe zone is a 15 to 20 minute walk that I would have to make with my daughter. All right, here is the ocean view, and this is the street right now.
She's literally listing facts here. Observations about how other people are reacting, what the water looks like, you know, like what her options are. She's not talking too much about herself, and she's trying to be smart about all this. She was really giving that mama bear energy about protecting her child too, because she clapped back at people trolling her video. They commented about her kid.
Anyone who is commenting to me that I am putting my daughter's life at risk, you're not helpful and you don't know what you're talking about. So those comments need to stop. They're extremely ignorant.
What is it with other people telling you how to raise your own kid? You know, people who are hating probably are single and don't even own like a cat. But anyway, the one thing that I appreciate about Shelby is that after the tsunami is over, she goes back to promoting activities and businesses in Hawaii. Yas, queen, promote our local economy instead of only profiting off of it. Go spend that money that I assume you made on views here in Hawaii. Lord knows we need it. But if you think that the last TikToker had it bad, it's nothing compared to this other story I heard as a reaction to the tsunami. The Pride of America, a Norwegian cruise line cruise ship, left 600 tourists stranded in Hawaii while they sailed off to safety.
Hundreds of cruise passengers were forced to seek shelter during the scare. Norwegian Cruise Lines Pride of America had docked in Hilo, but the company said it was required to depart 2 hours ahead of schedule.
If I was one of the people that got left behind, I would have been furious. It wasn't like the ship left on time and those hundreds of passengers were late. The ship left 2 hours early. Imagine hearing the tsunami warnings and being like, it's a good thing I'm going back to a giant ship and I can just travel into international waters. And then you arrive at the dock and they're like, oh no, yeah, they left hours ago. Don't worry, they left this message for you. And they hand you a piece of paper and you realize it's just a CVS receipt and on the back they scribbled the words, good luck.
So we made it to the port, but the ship is leaving. And now we are going to higher ground. It's crazy. It's chaos. Nobody knows what's going on. People are crying. An employee is yelling at people. People are yelling at the employee.
Emotions were high is an understatement. And the worst part is that the passengers can see the boat leaving. I don't know anything about how cruise ships work, but surely the staff could have just let people hop on. At least for me, I'd be like, throw down a ladder. I'll climb it. No, but I shouldn't joke about it too much. There were obviously elderly and children passengers, and so I guess boarding would have taken too long. But at least the staff responded professionally to this.
Our tour guide is still trying to give us like tour guide. The tour must go on for him. Everybody's like freaking out.
Too professionally. The tour guide is like, holy crap, we all might perish. I guess I better do what I do best. Give tours. And on your right here in Hilo, you'll see a park. And why was this park constructed? This dedicated individual aside, the cruise ship company as a whole could have done better in the compensation that they offered their passengers. But let me just show you, and you can decide for yourself whether or not they were being fair.
What compensation did we get after the ship left us? A 1-day prorated adjustment on onboard service charges, a 20% refund of the cruise fare paid, and a prorated refund of the More at Sea beverage package, $100 of onboard credit per person. They gave it to everyone, like literally everyone on the ship, even the people who got to sleep in a bed.
Yes, you heard that correctly. According to Mandy, the Pride of America offered equal compensation to everyone, even to the passengers that didn't make it on the ship. This kind of response makes me depressed because it's the kind of thing that looks good on paper to a faceless corporation, but in reality, it's an unfair fairness. Let's just pay everyone the same for their emotional distress and therefore not admit to being at fault for leaving 600 of them to fend for themselves. It's a box for them to check off so that they can be confident that no one will sue. Where you can experience the cruise of a lifetime, except in the event where there is a tsunami, in which case you're all on your own, doofuses. Don't even try coming back on board, because as long as we keep the majority of you safe, that's considered a win to us. Don't call us a faceless corporation, you're all just faceless consumers. Yay money! Now I can't make a video discussing the tsunami in Hawaii without bringing up one conflict that I feel like people discuss a lot. And as someone from here, and I know I'll probably get hate for this, I have to talk about the local people's reaction to this event. Because it might look like some of us are not taking it seriously, but the truth is that for a lot of us, we're reacting out of trauma. I know it's a taboo topic, especially in our community. This is my theory anyway, because as I've said, for those of us who live here, we cannot escape the risk of tsunamis destroying parts of our home, and so we try to cope with it.
You guys, this is the traffic after the tsunami alert. Oh my god.
For a second, let's just ignore the way the narrator pronounced tsunami and made it sound like salami. It made me cringe so hard that I had to Google the word and only just now realized that it's not actually English, it's literally Japanese. But anyway, this is scary as heck. To have to live with the fact that tsunamis happen like every 10 years and the city has no effective means of evacuating all of us has to weigh on our collective mental health. Kind of like, we know it's coming, and there's not much we can do about it. And there is always some kind of damage. Thank goodness the damage wasn't bad this time. I mean, hey, someone's gonna have to replace that plant. How come no one thought to save him? Plants are people too. But see, I'm doing it. I'm guilty of it right now. Using humor as a relief. When you prepare for everything to be the worst, and it ends up okay. I mean, you can't just keep preparing for the end of the world like every decade, and then when you come out unscathed, not want to have this chuckle like, we're alive. That or we get angry when people are disrespectful about our struggles, even with things like this. Who in their right mind would post this just for views? Let's use AI-generated prompts to make a video of a tsunami hitting Hawaii and making people think that it's real. TikTok needs to clamp down on these profiles that just make AI trash. Shout out to YouTube for maybe being the only platform that demonetizes these AI content farms. The best reaction of local people to the tsunami is when they really come together in the spirit of aloha.
An officer there saying,
it looks like he's trying to get the guy to leave, and
Yeah.
he's like, I'm not going anywhere.
oh, this guy got it.
Hey, go home and cook dinner.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
This clip of the guy catching a huge fish was broadcasted on our local news and went viral. Yes, finally something going viral because it's positive and uplifting for once. This man was dubbed Kalani Tsunami, and his catch was actually not filmed live. It turns out that the cameraman was shooting raw footage, but for some reason the station thought that they were rolling, and so they played that clip of the moment and had everyone laughing. The fisherman was actually invited back to the station later for an interview, and it's just a wholesome story.
My name's Kalani Kapiko. I'm born and raised in Lincoln Park, Michigan. I'm Hawaiian. My dad's from Kaneohe. My whole plan to move here was to make videos, to move my family back home.
Dang, now that I think about it, it's actually both an inspiring and sad story. Kalani is native Hawaiian, but he was actually born on the mainland, and his dream is to be able to move his family back to the islands. Honestly, I'm so glad that this guy went viral because he's trying to make a living from making his content. So if you're going to follow any of the creators that I talked about today, go and follow this guy. I am not Hawaiian myself, but I know the struggle of being priced out of paradise. Speaking of major segues, have you all seen Chief of War, the show about native Hawaiians?
This island, this is your home. This land will hold you long after I am gone. If this island is divided, this kingdom will fall.
I have been watching this every week since it came out, and it is fantastic. In case you didn't know, Hawaii was once an independent country with a thriving culture. All you may know is Lilo and Stitch, pina coladas, that kind of stuff. But Chief of War is gorgeously filmed, and it depicts Hawaiians to be passionate warriors, like just the toughest people ever. And did I mention it's filmed almost entirely in Hawaiian? Yeah, that is a huge flex, by the way. I can't believe that there are people who actually think this is a downside. They're missing the whole point. Of course, they didn't want viewers to know that they weren't going to provide an English dub because the average American doesn't like to read. I mean, there are people online hating the show for not being completely in English, and it just screams entitlement. But I don't have time to dive into that drama. Personally, I love how it visualizes the islands as what it was like when only Hawaiians were living here, because we only get glimpses of that today. There's also something else that's really interesting about it, although I can't quite put my finger on it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider liking and subscribing. Comment below where you were when you learned about the tsunami in Hawaii. Is this going to affect you wanting to visit in the future? Until next time, day ones, stay safe. Okay, bye.